Hello friends, I am Professor Ramoda B. Patil, Assistant Professor at TKIT Vananagar. I am here as a resource person on 1 week faculty development training program under IST on technical teachers training, which is being organized by VVIT PAL. So first of all, I am very much thankful to Kore sir for inviting me as a expert, you can say not expert, but as a presenter to this workshop. So the topic given to me is a brief presentation on outcome-based education. So we are going to have a discussion on what is outcome-based education and what are the different parameters that we should consider. So let us start with the discussion. So first of all, there are two things. Generally, we consider two things. One is called as what is the outcome and what is the outcome-based education. So we'll see them one by one. So what is outcome-based education? So the outcome-based education can be defined in different ways. So I have taken some definitions from different locations. One of the definitions says that this outcome-based education starts with a clear statement on what knowledge, skill, and attitude the graduate student will have or will be able to demonstrate as having acquired on successful completion of 4-year program. Now 4-year program means this is for engineering program. You can have diploma program of 3-year, you can have some other program. So in outcome based education, before giving admission to the students, we are going to say that yes, this is the knowledge that I am going to provide, these are the skills that student will have, these are the attitudes that students will have. So outcome based education is something in which we are defining what will be the outcome of my program or what will be the outcome of my course, let us say. So, and another definition that I found was which was very useful was outcome based education is an approach to education in which decision about the curriculum are driven by learning outcomes. So how the syllabus is to be devised. So I was discussing about another definition, and here we are going to clearly tell about what are the outcomes of my program, what are the outcomes of my course, what are the outcomes of my, let us say, first chapter of the course. At the end of, what is the outcome of today's session, something like this. So if you go to the class and you say that I am going to teach you some topic today, and the first thing that you have to tell to the student that whatever that I am going to teach you all, on the basis of that, this will be the outcome. That is, you will be able to perform these activities. For example, if you teach them C programming, the looping statement in the C programming, then your outcome could be student will be able to, or student will write a program for looping statement, or they will be able to write a program for, let us say, finding sum of first 10 numbers. They will be able to write the program to add 100 numbers. So these you are going to tell them after learning after taking my lecture, you will be able to do this. So this is the outcome. Okay, so defining the outcome is very important in the outcome based education. So we are talking about outcome based education, but what do we mean by outcome? So outcome is, as I told you, that what is going to be the outcome. For example, you teach to the student for 4 years, and after 4 years, what is the outcome? Whether the passing certificate is the outcome? No, it is the output. Whatever you have taught to them, so one output is passing certificate, another output is he has got the job, another output is he is able to communicate. So combining all these will become the outcome. I will say output is being a computer teacher, so we generally discuss about what is the input and what is the output. Now here output, I am not discussing about the output, it is outcome. Okay, so outcome can be, you can say, the universal set of many outputs. So after studying the 4-year course, what your student will be able to, this is the program outcome. After studying one course, what will be the student will be able to do, this is the course outcome. After studying one chapter, what will be the student will be able to do, this is the unit outcome. After attending my lecture today, what will be the student will be able to do, so it is a that particular lecture outcome, I will say. So outcome of an education, so generally it is at different levels. Outcome of education is what the student should be able to do and able to do at the end of the program, or you can say after completing 1 or 2 years of the degree. Or in other way, we can say that outcome is which is measurable qualities the student have after completing the course or the program. We are going to discuss about what are the different qualities the student can have. We are going to discuss about what is actually the teacher is teaching and what is expected from the students. All these things we are going to have a discussion on this. So one example I have brought in front of you. The unit outcome means after completing the first chapter, let us say, what will be the student able to perform. For example, let us say I am teaching how to design engineering curriculum, and my first lecture of after completing my first let us say chapter, what is going to do is, after studying the unit, they will be able to justify the need of dynamic curriculum for engineering programs, distinguish between the features of Indian industry engineering education curriculum in its life cycle, interpret the utility of curriculum perspective, and compare the roles of engineering curriculum stakeholders. So what are the stakeholders? That all things I am going to talk about. This is one example I have considered. Sorry for that disturbance, because I am using a software to record my screen, so due to that some problems are coming. But next one, so we have discussed about this one, what could be the unit outcomes. Now let us discuss about what exactly we want to the student to be at the completion of the course, or at the completion of the program, or at the completion of the unit. So we use some terminology to define the outcomes, and what student will be able to perform. They are all based on Bloom's taxonomy. What is a Bloom's taxonomy? It is a taxonomy. It is a classification system used to define and distinguish different levels of human cognition. So what are the cognitions that a human have? That is, human can think, human can learn, and human can understand at different levels. So let me show you. These are the different levels. So in all there are 6 levels I am showing you here. The remember is the lowest level and easiest level to learn, and the create is the highest level, and it could be most difficult to achieve. So what do you mean by remember? So remember will be like after attending your lecture, student will be able to remember the definition you have provided. For example, if you are teaching let us say data structure, and in the data structure, if you have taught them stack, definition of the stack, so maybe the student will remember the definition of the stack by, so some definition of the stack is there. For example, let us say stack is a non-primitive data structure where information is inserted and deleted from the same end, let us say. So this, whatever this information is there, he will try to remember it. First thing is that he will try to remember it, or he will try to anytime he can recall it. He can recall the facts and the basic components. He will be able to define the things. He will be able to duplicate the things. He will be able to, let us say, list out which are the different data structure that we have. He will be able to memorize. He will be able to repeat, state. So whatever the points that I am giving here, these are the points which resembles the remember. Okay, the next level is understand. So student will understand. So exactly here the student will be able to draw a diagram, and he will be So in the second level, in the understand level, we will be the student will be able to, let us say, draw the diagram of stack, and he will be able to show you that when 10 elements are inserted and 4 elements are deleted, what is going to happen, or when after 4 elements are deleted another 6 elements are deleted at the 6th time, he will be able to tell you that the stack is currently empty, something like that. Then in the third case, the next level of this outcome based education is apply. We say this as a cognitive learning points. So next one is apply. What is apply? Is the student, so student will be able to use the information and execute the program. For example, you ask him to write the program to convert a given, let us say, infix expression to postfix expression, or implement a stack. So he will be able to implement, or he will be able to execute or solve or demonstrate, or he will be able to interpret, operate. These operations he can perform in the apply phase. Next level of learning is called as analyze. Now here he can analyze, he can compare two different algorithms, let us say. So he knows many of the data structures, and now he can say that no, this data structure is better applicable here, or he can compare the two algorithms which are better, which is better among the two algorithms, or he can, let us say, distinguish among the two different components. He can experiment on that, he can ask you a question, or he can test that. So these are analysis. In computer engineering, we generally do the analysis of algorithms, let us say. So when your student is able to say that, sir, the bubble sort algorithm is going to take big of n square time, so how that n square is coming, so he will be able to, if he can do that, then his learning level is at the analysis level. Then he can evaluate, he can say that one is better than another, or he can you can say select which is better among the given possibilities. And the last level of learning is called as create, in which what he can do is he can create a new tool, or he can design a new tool. Let us say he can construct something new, he can formulate something new at the highest level. So remember, is the lowest level of you will say learning for the learner, and create is the highest level of learning. Next, moving on to what is happening inside the class. So what is the teacher is teaching, and what we want the student to do. So as we have seen in the last lecture here, so there are 6 levels of I say that they are all the cognitive process. So here, what is exactly I am teaching to my student is, I am teaching the factual knowledge to the students. I am teaching the fact. Okay, so what is the fact? Factual knowledge is knowledge of terminology. So what could be the knowledge of terminology? Knowledge of terminology is, for every action there is a equal and opposite reaction. So if I throw a ball on a wall, it will come back with what speed, or the same speed, we cannot know. It depends on what is incident, what is thrown onto the wall. If it is a ball, then it may come with fast speed, or if it is a small stone, at that time it may not come back with the same speed, and it may not cover the same distance. So factual is the knowledge of terminology. We are teaching them some terminology, and that is called as factual knowledge. Okay, and what we exactly are teaching to the student, they are all called as a knowledge dimension. What we expect from the student is called as a cognitive process, and these are the cognitive process, and that is the Bloom's taxonomy. So now here, first, what I am teaching to the student is factual knowledge. I am teaching them conceptual knowledge. I am teaching them the concepts. Then I am teaching them the procedural knowledge. I am teaching them the metacognitive knowledge. What is the conceptual knowledge? Is I am teaching some theories, some models, some let us say structures to them. So they are all conceptual knowledge. Then procedural knowledge, I am giving some procedures. For example, I am teaching them some algorithms, or I am teaching them some flowcharts. Okay, how to let us say how to convert x to y. So what are the process involved, okay? Or how to add 10 numbers, let us say. I am teaching the process. I am procedural. What could be the process? What could be the procedure? And then the last one is metacognitive knowledge. What is this metacognitive knowledge? Is sometimes I am asking them to do something, and what is about their attitude? What is about their self-assessment? Are they able to self-assess themselves? So in my teaching process, I am teaching them these four you can say dimensions. So factual knowledge is I am giving them the factual information. What are the basic concepts and all these things I am teaching them. In the conceptual knowledge, I am teaching them the concepts. Then in the procedural knowledge, I am teaching them what is the procedure to do something. And then in the metacognitive knowledge, I am teaching them to how to behave, or how to self-assess, or what should be my attitude and all. For example, your soft skill subjects, or there are some teachers who are very good at this level, and they can handle the student well. And what we expect the student to learn is the students will be able to remember, the students will be able to understand, the student will be able to apply, the student will be able to analyze, student will be able to evaluate, and student will be able to create. So this is the difference, what exactly I am giving them and what I expect from them. So these are the outcomes. I am giving this, a teacher is teaching is this one, and teacher is expecting this output from the student. This is the actual thing that is going on today in the teaching. So in what way, what methodology I can use to convert this one to the student knowledge? Let us move further. So this part is factual and conceptual, procedural, metacognitive. These are called as the knowledge dimension. Cognitive process. So cognition is a mental action or process of acquiring knowledge and understanding through experiences and the senses. You can say recalling something, or interpreting something, or organizing something, testing the given component. These are the different cognition of learning. Okay, if you are able to test it, or if you are able to organize it, or if you are able to interpret it, all these are the different cognitive levels. Coming to the next slide, while teaching, whatever the things we have discussed in the last slide, while teaching to the students, what happens is, in order to convert this teacher's teaching to the student cognition, what the teacher does is, teacher asks the question. Okay, what is the reason that teacher is asking the question? Teacher may come up with some questions, and teacher will ask the questions to check whether the student is at this level, the student is at this level, or the third level of cognition, fourth level of cognition, and so on. Even the teacher sometimes asks the question to identify the gaps in their cognition, and he want to assess the student, what the students are understanding. Again, another thing that I wanted to talk about this cognitive process is about at what level the subjects through which the student remembers or understands or applies or analyzes, I can put it in my syllabus. So at the initial years, put some subjects in which they are put more subject of let us say lower levels, and put less subjects of higher levels, and go on reversing it year by year. So this is about I'll say this particular slide, and let me check about so as I was telling that try to put in the first year, try to put the subjects in which the student will be able to remember and understand. More subject on this, and less subject on analysis, because directly you cannot start expect from them to analyze the things and evaluate the things. So what you can do is, initially these subjects are at the lower grades, lower classes, and the subject through which he can perform this one. So for example, electives and some modeling subjects at the final year, and you can go on increasing the level as the student proceeds to the next classes. Talking about the knowledge dimension that we have discussed here. So what is the teacher teaching is the knowledge dimension. So what is the teacher teaching in the he is teaching the 4 points. So he is teaching the factual knowledge, he is teaching the conceptual knowledge, procedural knowledge, and metacognitive knowledge. So what exactly he is teaching in the factual knowledge is he is teaching about the knowledge of terminology. He is giving the knowledge of specific details and elements. So this is about the factual knowledge. Then so fact, what is the fact he is teaching you? Then in the conceptual, he is teaching about the concept knowledge of classifications and categories, or knowledge of principles and generations, knowledge of theories, models, structures. In the procedural, knowledge of subject specific skills and algorithms, what are the different steps we should do to perform a particular task, or subject specific techniques, methods, or sometimes the knowledge of criteria for you can say determining when to use the appropriate procedure. For example, when to use merge sort algorithm, when to use quick sort algorithm, when to use bubble sort algorithm. So there are different situations when you cannot go for merge sort. Instead, you can it is better to use the you can say bubble sort instead of quick sort. There are some situations. Where you can go with the quick sort. There are some situations where we can go with the merge sort and so on. So that is all about the procedural. And the last one is metacognitive. Metacognitive is strategic knowledge, or knowledge about cognitive tasks. It is including the appropriate context and conditional knowledge or self knowledge. So now this already we have discussed about, but what is the growth in the knowledge? So factual and conceptual, starting from factual to metacognitive, the lower level of this one is the knowledge dimension is called as a concrete knowledge, and a higher level of knowledge dimension is called as a abstract knowledge. Now here you cannot while designing the syllabus also, you cannot do like have all the things in the concrete knowledge, or have most of the things in the abstract knowledge. So there should be a balance. So in the how it is to be balanced is, there are 3 skills we should give to the student. The first skill is called as mental skill, or it is exactly a knowledge. So mental skills is he is able to you can say remember, he is able to, let us in the this one in the Bloom's taxonomy, he will be able to remember, or he will be able to understand, or he will be able to slight part of he will be able to apply, will come under this mental skills or knowledge skills. So he has some factual knowledge, he has some conceptual knowledge. All these knowledge will come under the mental skills, and that is the knowledge, that is exactly the knowledge he has. Next is procedural. Now procedural is these are the skills. So a skill to write a program, a complicated program, there is some different skills are required for that. Writing a program for adding n numbers, and writing a program for, let us say, identifying common numbers in a given array. So there will be different skills required in this, and as a program goes on complicated, at that time he will be requiring more skills. Okay, and that are called as physical skills or manual skills. So specifically I am calling them as a skill. This is also a mental skill, but it is a knowledge. This is about the skill. And the metacognitive dimension, it is about the growth in the feelings, self-assessment. So until and unless your student has your student is able to self-assess himself, he will not grow. So attitude is very much important, and in the subjects like soft skills or ethics or some subjects, we are trying to teach them attitude. So this is very much important. So if he is at this level at that time, he will be a good you can say he will be having a good career in his life. Okay, and coming here will require to come up to this. He should have a knowledge, he should have a skills, about that. So you will say sometimes there are some students who are not at all coming to the class, but they have their own business, they have started their own business. So always remember, friends, what business he is doing is he has the knowledge about that student, knowledge about that business, and he has the skills to run that business. Then he is here. So sometimes people say that sir ते काय आलाच नाही आणि ते तरी पण त्याने स्वतःच कंपनी काढला. So why he did that is he was having the knowledge, he was having the interest in that. So that is different part. Okay, again, so mental skills, physical skills, and growth skills, whatever the program outcome or program specific outcome that you are devising, they should all fall in the given categories. So that is either mental skills or manual skills or growth skills. All these are called as a knowledge dimension. Okay, so moving ahead, moving ahead is the cognitive process. So we have discussed about the half part, that is what teacher is teaching, and we have discussed about what is expected from the student. So there are six things. So student remember, understand, apply, analyze, evaluate, and create. So remembering means what? These are some keywords that can be used instead of remembering, or these are some of the processes he is doing which can be considered as this cognitive dimension. Understanding means he is able to clarify, he is able to paraphrasing, he is able to representing, he will be able to translating. That is all comes under interpreting. Exemplifying is illustrating or instantiating, or another term in this is classifying. So categorizing, subsumes. So these all things comes under understand. So understand is a bit larger, so I have included the second point here also. I have continued it here. So now in this particular so if you see here, the you can say the remember, understand, and apply. These three dimensions will come as a knowledge. 1 minute. And if you consider these three, at that time they all will consider as the manual, that is the skills, and physical, they are all under the skills. So manual or physical skills. In the last slide I have shown here. So here it is the, you can see here, so it is the manual mental skill, and this is the manual skill. And the third one, so first three resembles to the factual and conceptual. The second three, that is 4, 5 and 6, resembles to the manual physical skills. Okay, and overall all complete, if you see here, so this all 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, these are all for, you say the third one, that is self-assessment or attitude. I will say here it is a attitude. So this is very important to understand. That is either what are the first three, or so how I can connect this part with the second part. So so what I was trying to say is the first two, these first two, 1 and 2, these are, I will say, as in the next slide it is there, these are called as the mental skills. So these are mental skills. So I'll write it properly. So these two are mental skills. The third one is, I was saying that it is the I will say just the skills. So mental skills is the knowledge, and this is the skills. Okay, and the last one is the attitude. Now if I want to compare this one at this side, so the 1, 2 and 3, all these 1, 2 and 3, all these will be the knowledge dimension. So I'll write it here properly. 4, 5, 6 will be the skill dimension, and overall complete 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, these are all will be the attitude dimension. So it is very important to know, to compare. So now I hope you'll be able to compare कि बाबा if I want to give if I want my student to remember, understand and applies at that time, in that case I may need to give the factual and conceptual knowledge. If I want my students to apply, analyze, evaluate, create, at that time I have to give the second type of knowledge, that is called as the procedural knowledge. And metacognitive knowledge is everywhere, so you may find that it is suitable for every this one. And this is, suppose in this as we have seen here, there are four points here. But here, if in my syllabus I do not have the factual knowledge and conceptual knowledge, at the time what I am teaching them, I am directly teaching them the procedural knowledge and metacognitive knowledge, and due to that there will be a gap. And so your syllabus should be designed in such a way that your student should be able to perform all these cognitive dimension. So so with this I will stop for my first lecture. I will continue the another lecture in my next video. Thank you.